ॐ गुणातीताय नमः।
ॐ गुणातीताय नमः।
ॐ ग्रन्थकृते नमः।
ॐ ग्रन्थकृते नमः।
ॐ चिन्मयाय नमः।
ॐ चिन्मयाय नमः।
ॐ छिन्नसंशयाय नमः।
ॐ छिन्नसंशयाय नमः।
ॐ जगदात्मने नमः।
ॐ जगदात्मने नमः।
ॐ जगत्साक्षिणे नमः।
ॐ जगत्साक्षिणे नमः।
ॐ जनप्रियाय नमः।
ॐ जनप्रियाय नमः।
ॐ जितेन्द्रियाय नमः।
ॐ जितेन्द्रियाय नमः।
ॐ जीवब्रह्मैक्यविदे नमः।
ॐ जीवब्रह्मैक्यविदे नमः।
ॐ जीवब्रह्मैक्यविदे नमः।
ॐ जीवब्रह्मैक्यविदे नमः।
In our Upanishads, there is something what we call as Mahavakyas. Mahavakyas mean statements of, great statements of truth. And one of those Mahavakyas, there are 4 Mahavakyas, main statements from the 4 Vedas. One is called Tattvamasi, one is called Aham Brahmasmi. Great statements, one selected from each of the Vedas. The other one is called Prajnanam Brahma. And last one is called Ayam Atma Brahma. So that first Mahavakya which I just told you, that is called Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi means thou art that. You are that. Thou art that means the Jiva, you or me, we. The Jiva is nothing but Ishvara at our level. The Jiva is nothing but Ishvara, like Tulsidas says. Gita also says, in 15th chapter it will come. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram.
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Ishwar Amsa Jeeva Avinashi.
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Chetan Amal
सहज सुख राशि।
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Ishwar Amsa Jeeva Avinashi.
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Chetan Amal
सहज सुख
Rashi.
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Jai Raghurama.
Jai Raghurama.
Jai Sitaram.
Jai Sitarama.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Rama.
All the Shastras everywhere they say the same thing, Ishvara Amsa Jiva Vinashi. The Jiva is an Amsha of Ishvara only. Ishvara in his unqualified, unadulterated form is Brahman only. Ishvara qualified by his Maya is called, Brahman qualified by his Maya is called as Ishvara. The Jiva and Ishvara, Jiva and Brahman, they are one. So this name of Gurudev, and this is the teaching of Vedanta, and Gurudev got his name from this teaching of Vedanta, Tattvamasi Mahavakya. That Jiva and Brahma, they are one. Jiva and Ishvara, they are one. Because he was in know of that, he's called as Jiva Brahmaikya Vide Namaha. Jiva Brahmaikya Vida. Vid. Brahmaikya Vid. Jiva Brahmaikya Vid. When decline and all, we'll give this in the fourth case. Jiva Brahmaikya Vide. Why are you laughing for? Meaning to say, salutations to that one who knows the oneness between Jiva and Brahma. Salutations to the one who knows the oneness between Jiva. We only know it by book knowledge. In the Upanishad or the, what you call the Shastras say that, right? He knows it in reality. We know it by, as bookish knowledge. That is the difference between ordinary people and saints. We, like for example, there are so many things which I will know only by bookish knowledge or by imagination. Like when I talk about parenting all the time, right? People ask me, Swamiji, talk about parenting. Look who they're asking. And you know, those lectures have all become very popular. Coming from one who is a non-parent. But see, that will only be knowledge that I know from Shastras and this and that, isn't it? And from seeing. But about a parent, means I don't know what it is like to be a parent. That's a good thing too, eh? That means to say I don't know what it is like to be deluded. Because parents get so deluded by children and all. Amazing. Means the mamatvam increases 1,000-fold when children come. Mamatvam, you will never have mamatvam for anything in this world as you have when you see that little munna face. Correct or not? Only parent not tell true or not? Mamatvam means minus. All the parents who are there. That's how I know, you see? The parents have to admit, you see, you say, this is my car, this is my house, this is my land, this is my money and all that kind of thing. But that minus could never be as strong as when you see Munna face. Oh Lord. Eh? He over nice. And every mother has the most beautiful baby in the world. Mamatvam. It increases 1,000-fold at that time. I had a friend. We used to be Shakha. You see Shakha? We used to be in Shakha hunting together. So that time he wasn't married and all that. Then after some years he got married and I went this way, he went that way. And then we met after many years. He got married and he telling me no. And this fellow was in Shakha playing games and he was a real kind of sannyasi, yogi, kind of Babaji. When after some years, he telling me now, and he doing hand soap. That's how I doing my hand soap. I remember he. He says, Swamiji, oh Lord, you will never know the feeling when you hold your own child in your hand like that. So I have a parent direct, me. And then that accords very well with what the Shastras say. That mamatvam, you will have with regard, this is my computer, this is my thing, this is my house, this is my... But when that child comes, all these minus of these things, they pale into insignificance. When that baby comes there. Strong sense of minus. So, that delusion, in other words, becomes fortified at that time. This is why it's so it is so important that we take real care in that grihastha stage of life. And see, that delusion is a kind of wedge between ourselves and the rest of the world. Because the mind is only strongly with regard to certain things now. In this case, the children and all that kind of thing. In this teaching, we are saying, Gurudev is a knower of the oneness between the Jiva and the Brahma. And that he knows in reality. Not bookish knowledge like the things we know, only bookish knowledge. Or we hear from somebody or this or that, right? But he knows in reality. It's called Jiva Brahmaikya Vide, Jiva Brahmaikya Vit. That is the idea. All right. Now, if you are joining us tonight for the first time, we are seeing Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Last night when we left it, we reach now chapter 4, verse, who will tell? 17? Chapter 4, verse 8. Just now I'll tell you, let me find it here. Karmanya karmaya pashet. Karmanya karmaya pashet. Akarmanicha karmayaha. That is called number 18. Savuddhiman Manishi. Bhagavan is talking about something called which is actionlessness. That's why we left it last night at the Hindu Prachar Kendra. Then let me tell you a little bit about actionlessness. It means to say, as we explained last night, this is just to recap and so to continue from this point, that in and through all actions and activities, because karma means activity, action, right? Whatever is going on in the world. So many countless things are going on in the world. And the easiest way to understand this word action is to just remember in English language, verb. How many verbs are happening at the same time? So you are listening, you are looking, you are thinking, you are sitting, concentrating. They are all verbs. So how many things? See, along the road, the cars are driving, some are honking, some of them are talking on the phone. Countless, the earth is spinning, orbiting, but these are all verbs. The electrons in the atom swirling, zooming. How many verbs? And all going on simultaneously. It's called all activity. Now I told, behind all of this activity, there is stillness. Behind all things, there is stillness. Only because there is stillness, you can know the movement. Behind all activity, there is stillness. That is called inaction. To put that in easier terms, there is no word, but I'll make up a word. There is, see, so many things are happening in this world, right? There is nothing happeningness. Get it? Only because there is that stillness behind the whole universe, you can know what is movement, activity. You must have a background. See, if you don't have a screen for the movie to play on, no movie. So you must have a background of stillness, then you can know activity. So the one who is able to see all the activities going on and at the same time to experience the stillness which is behind the universe, he is called Buddhiman here. It's a Buddhiman Manusheshu. Among men, he is the wise one. In that last verse which we saw, 18. Who is able to see all the activities going on, but at the same time to experience the stillness behind the universe, where all the activities are transpiring. It's a Buddhiman Manusheshu. And at the same time, though he is established in that stillness, though he is lodged in that very well settled, he has gained a nishtha. In Sanskrit, it's called nishtha. Nishtha means a firm abidance in that stillness. This wise man, he's still from there able to see all the activities happening. So in activity, he is seeing inaction. And in action, he is seeing inaction, no action. Oh, it's the same thing. And in his state of inaction, he is seeing all activities going on. Wise person. In other words, do you know when you are looking at the movie, you can look either at the thing passing on the screen, or you can look at the screen also, isn't it? You have a choice. The screen is the one which will be still, yes, unmoving. And the movie, that's what I call moving. It is moving all the time. If no movement, that is not a movie. You have still picture. So, this is the topic which is going on. Bhagavan is talking about that person who has gained a firm abidance in this state of stillness. And from there he is able to see both activity and inactivity. I mean non-activity. Now, he continues. This is now some hints on how to get to that state. Because this is the elevated state which is being spoken about. This is number 19 now. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Yasya Sarve Samarambha Sankalpa Varjitaha,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Jnanagni Karmanam Tamahu Panditam Buddha. Kinchit karoti saha,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Nirashi yat chitatma yakta sarva parigraha. Shariram kevalam karma kurvannapnoti kilvisham.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Yadrichala santushtaha Dvandvatito vimatsaraha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Samasiddha vasiddhau cha kritvapi na nibhadyate.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasaha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam
Sanskrit there is a very nice kahavat which says, a nice saying, kahavat means saying. क्या कहते हैं कि सिद्धकस्य लक्षणानि साधकस्य साधनानि. इसका अर्थ क्या है? It means that the qualities of a great saint they become our sadhana. So if I see a great saint has discipline, discipline becomes my sadhana, my spiritual practice. I should practice. It means I don't have discipline like he has, but his lakshana, or what we call his trait or characteristic of that person become my sadhana. So if I see he has discipline, then I should also now start developing discipline. If I see that he has great determination and dedication and devotion and all such things, then those lakshanas in that sage now become my sadhana. Siddhakasya sadhanani, lakshanani, sadhakasya sadhanani. So here now, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is describing exactly like that. He is describing the lakshanas or the qualities, traits, characteristics of this person who is just described in the previous verse. What is that? Is Vidwan. Vidwan means wise person. Wise person means who sees action in inaction and inaction in action, as we saw last night and earlier today also. So that wise person is being described, and the description of that person becomes our sadhana. Means whatever he is described as. So how is he described? Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha. In all his work, there is the absence of kama sankalpa. This phrase will come again in 6th chapter. Very nice phrase. Kama sankalpa means what? See, sankalpa means I am taking some sort of vow or oath or some sort of decision. That is sankalpa. And what is the first part of that compound? Kama sankalpa means I say I am going to get this thing. I am going to get that thing. And why? Behind all of that, I am convinced that that thing will make me happy. And listen, happiness is in our own heart. But we think that when I get this, when I get that, when I get the other thing, then I will be happy. So that thing, that decision that we take to get that thing with the idea that that thing will make me happy, that's called a kama sankalpa. So he says, this wise person, kama sankalpa varjita. Varjita means that become free from that. He has no such thing. In other words, that will be my sadhana now. I should think, but I should become free from that. Why am I thinking, when I get this, I will be happy. When I get that, I will be happy. Only when, and that means to say, I am always putting my happiness in future. Because see the phrase, when I get this, when I get that, when I go there, isn't it? That when is in future. So my happiness is always in future. And his whole life, we do like this. Like this story, when I was in preschool, I was dying to go to primary school. When I was in primary school, I was dying to go to high school. When I was in high school, I was dying to go to university. When I was in university, I was dying to graduate and get a job. When I graduated and got a job, I was dying to get married. When I got married, I was dying to have children. When I got children, I was dying for these children to grow up and get married and get out from the house. When the children got married and got out, and I was dying to retire. When I retired, I realized I'm dying and I forgot to live. So your whole life you spend dying. Why? Because you perceive happiness in the next stage. So this person, yes, he knows happiness is in his own heart. He doesn't perceive any happiness in future or outside, in some different space and different time. That is our malady, our disease. You see? So, kama sankalpa vajja is free from any such kama sankalpa. That when I get, I'll get this thing. When I get it, I'll be happy. Jnana agni dagda karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. In Bhagavad Gita, there are about 6 or 7 places where pandit word comes. The pandit word comes. Pandit is described there. He call it Tamahu Panditam Buddha. The wise people call this man a Pandit. Who? Jnanagni Dagda Karmanam. The one whose all karmas have been burnt in the fire of knowledge. What is the meaning of that? It means all karma. See, even wise people, they act, right? So karmas cannot be burnt. How you'll burn karma? Wise, realized souls, they act and they do karmas or not? So what has to be burnt is the feeling that I am a doer. That is called, last night I told you, that is called as kartritva bhava. That I am a doer. What we have to understand, he told in 3rd chapter, Prakritehe kriyamanani. Prakriti, Bhagwan's Shakti is doing everything. We feel that we are doing. So the one who has acquired knowledge and it has burnt away this feeling of doership, that person is called as Pandit. He knows I am not a doer. Everything is being done by Bhagwan only. He's called a Pandit. And several other definitions come in this Bhagavad Gita. So, Tyaktva karma phala sangam nitya tripto nirashrayaha. He has renounced all attachment to results, to fruits. He does, see, I'll tell you, when this phrase comes, just remember this now. A simple thing. We do activity expecting to get the joy from the result. Because if you're not getting any joy from the result, why you'll do? That is how ordinary people work, right? We say, we're expecting some joy from the result. When I do this work and the result will come, then I'll enjoy that thing. So the work is being done now and the joy is going to come later on when I get the result. So see what he says here. Tyaktva karma phala sangam. He has renounced any attachment to the result. Then where is he going to get his joy? He's going to get his joy from the very doing of the action itself. I am so happy to do this thing. Give me a chance now, man. I want to do this. In Trini language. Joy from work. People used to see our Gurudev working at 1 o'clock in the morning. Work. Because he's getting joy from the work. We only get joy from the result. That is why everybody, when they go to work, they're waiting for the whistle. Siren or the clock or something. He getting joy from the result, not from the... In fact, that work is a burden. No joy from the work. The moment the whistle blows, one fella, he knocking a nail on the wall. That nail reached halfway on the wall, and the whistle blow. He said, I'm going to knock it tomorrow. You leave it. What type of work is that? That work is a burden, man. So that all of us, for us, work is burden. But we have to get joy from our work itself. I love to do this thing. You can't find me doing anything else. I love to do this. And get the joy there. And so, tyaktva karma phala sangam. Attachment to the result. What the result will be, let it be. Like that kind of thing. This is what is being taught by Bhagavan. What a wonderful thing. Nitya triptaha, nirashrayaha. Nitya triptaha means all the time contented. See, I'm happy here itself. Why are you telling me to be happy only when I get that? And as we teach all the children, beta, go to school, study hard. Study hard. You'll get good education, you'll get a good job, and you'll get good money, and your life will be happy. You telling the boy. And what do I tell the girl and him? Study hard. Become bright. You'll get a good husband. Correct or not? You get a good husband. And that has happened? One fella said, my wife made me a millionaire. When I married she, I was a billionaire. You know, what is a successful man? A successful man is one who can make more money than his wife could spend. And you know what is a successful woman? One who could find such a husband. People socialize the children in such ways, thinking that, when we find that one, we'll be happy. When we get that place, we'll be happy. When we do this, we'll be happy. And happiness is not to be found outside. Happiness is in our own heart. So Nitya Tripta, he is contented all the time with himself, by himself, through himself, alone. He enjoys his company. Gurudev used to say, Nitya Tripta means one who enjoys his own company. We cannot stay a moment without other people's company. If that person absent from his life, huh? If you come home and you are lonely, that's it, quick, you want to put on some TV, you want to see other people. You can enjoy your own company. Gurudev used to say, if you cannot enjoy your own company, please do not inflict it on others. You're supposed to be able to enjoy it. I good, I cool. ठीक है, ठीक हूँ. अरे छोड़ो ना मुझको. I okay. So, Nitya Triptaha, all the time. Nirashraya means not lean. These are nice phrases. I love these phrases, Unfortunately, I have to rush through this Gita. Nirashraya means not leaning. He doesn't lean on anything. Independent. Nirashraya means independent. Not dependent on anything. All the time leaning. And we lean physically, we lean psychologically. You see, in the old days, they used to make a bench. I told you, na? When you go to satsang, they used to have a bench. At that bench, I know backward standing. If you fall asleep in that satsang, next day might be funeral. But now what? We get nice chanting with. We want something to lean. Because that bench, let me tell you how this came about, to go and buy a chair with backrest. Because everybody used to rush for the last bench in the back by the wall. Because when they sit down by the bench, they could lean up on the wall. So that everybody used to rush for that bench. That's where we get the habit of sitting in the back. You see how many things are connected. So we like to lean up on all kind of things. So this is physical leaning. Anywhere you go, a person cannot stand up on his own 2 feet. Any pose he finds. And it's physical. And human beings also. You see couples in the plane or the bus. Leaning. We have this habit of lean. Sit up straight like that and quickly gravitate toward the wall. And this is in temples across the world where people still have to sit on the floor. You see a row of people on this side by the wall and a row of people on that side, all of them foot facing so. See, everybody know what we are talking about. Physical leaning. Then there is psychological leaning. Means without this thing in my life, without that thing in my life feels empty. Pura जीवन खाली. बिना ये जीवन खाली. Nothing is there. Niras. We like to lean psychologically on this thing. This thing is not there, that thing is not there, the other. And I tell you, all sorts of things. Sometimes people come here in the satsang and their mind is leaning on something. Lean in. Nirashraya, this word means don't lean on. This is his quality is being described, right? Quality of the Mahatma is being described. But this is what I should start practicing. Nirashraya. It is free from any dependence. Karamani abhipravittaha api na eva kinchit karoti saha. Such a person who has reached this state, even though you may see him doing activities, actions, karamani abhipravittaha, engaged in activities, na eva kinchit karoti saha. Saha na eva kinchit karoti, he doesn't do anything. he has given up. Such a person will come to that state where doership will be given up. He has no sense of doership. Kartritva bhav. He knows that Prakriti is doing everything. And he is free from any kama and sankalpa, kama sankalpa, any of this leaning, all these things we are seeing here, all the time contented he is. He is described further, nirashihi yata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha. Having given up all sense of mineness with regard to possession. This is mine. I possess this. I have this. I have the other thing. It's amazing how strongly we hold on to those things, all the way down to the wire. All the way down to the wire. And I keep saying again and again, especially Indian people. Everywhere I see this all the time. Indian people hold on to the property, they never get rid of it and give the children and all that kind of thing. We're supposed to do that thing. They hold on to it and they die. They never do it. And children now, in the funeral day, they start fighting. Parigraha, possession. We hold it right down to the wire, man. And if you could carry it, with me. And one man tell his wife, he said, I'm carrying all this money with me. I put it in a suitcase and I keep it in the attic. And when I'm going up, so you're going to full all the money in the suitcase and then put it in the attic. And naturally he'll die. Time was coming close. He died. Funeral over and thing, the wife gone to check there to see if it's there. She opened the suitcase, all the money there. She said, tell that fool he should have put it down in the basement. He ain't gone up, he gone? Anyway, so holding on to property and holding on to possessions, he's sarva, tyakta sarva parigraha. One who has renounced all, now see, possessions. Don't think that Bhagavan is telling you go home today and you get rid of all. Don't go home and tell anybody. Swami say that. What it means to say, in the case of, see this, if you interpret for a sannyasi, then it is okay like that. But for a householder, the interpretation here is to give up what Bhagavan himself is telling, mamatvam. I don't own any of these things. That just has to be given up. I own absolutely nothing. And it has to be given up deeply from the heart, not just to say by mouth that I don't own anything. Deeply from inside, you should have that feeling, I own nothing. Tyakta sarva parigraha nirashihi yata chittatma. Yata chittatma means one who has controlled all his senses and all the faculties. Control, we saw that. One of Gurudev's name, na? Yesterday. What is that? One who has Jitendriyaha. That name. See, don't forget already. Yesterday we saw. Jitendriyaha. So it's same thing, Yata Chittatma. Jitendriyaha and Yata Chittatma is same. Yata is what's called as passive participle of yam. Yam means to control, to rule, to control. So we are the ones who should control our senses and all the faculties. Not that the faculties should control us. So Yata Chittatma, one who has controlled all his faculties and the mind and everything well. And the first part of that phrase is Nirashihi. This is a most wonderful phrase. What is Nirashihi? Nirashihi word, Bhagavan Bhashakar says, Na ashishaha yasmat saha. It means to say, he from whom all ashishaha is gone. This ashishaha word is very interesting. You know, I'll tell you what is ashisha. Because the ashir word is coming. We put our hands together also and we go and we pray to Bhagavan. Prabhu, give me this now. Prabhu, give me that now. Prabhu, do this for me now. Like Bhagavan is some kind of errand runner or something. He does run errands. Bhagavan, do this for me. Do that for me. all sorts of deep down, we have so many little wishes and hopes and so many types of, and we make what they call as supplication to Bhagwan, that I want this and I want that. That is called as Ashi. Ashishaha. The plural Bhashakar is giving there. That is why, if you notice, for years now, I've been telling, and at the end, we say prayers, right? Closing prayers. And that's what I tell, please listen here, and this is how, this prayer is based on this teaching only. We want to thank Bhagwan. We want to thank the Lord for all the things which He has given us. He is our mother, our father, our friend, our companion, our learning, our web. But even more than that, He is our very own self. He is the one who supports us. And we chant as the rishis chant, in praise of that reality. Not asking, this Ashi, see, a real sadhak has no Ashi, doesn't ask Bhagwan for anything. I mean, how many countless things he has given already? My mother used to say, but you have no shame. That shame word is very well used in our house. You have no shame. Bhagwan give you so much already and you're still going and begging. Yeah. So that's why he's saying, Nirashi. You should have absolutely no desire in front of Bhagwan. And count your blessing now, how many he has given already. Especially at Trini. Huh? If he asks it like me, he's more shameless. Nirashihi. What a nice phrase it is. Shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilvisham. This first phrase is for sannyasi. For sannyasi only. Means to say, he only does those actions that are required for the protection of his body. Means that body needs a little food, that body needs a little sleep, that body needs a bath every day, like that kind of thing. So that's all. He only does those actions and renounces everything. This is a sannyasi phrase. Chariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti. Such a person, even though you see him eating, you see him taking a bath, he doesn't incur any bondage of karma kilvisham, sin. Yadricha labhasantushtaha dvandvatito vimatsaraha. Again, qualities. He who is santushtaha, contented, satisfied with what? Yadricha labha. Yadricha labha means what comes unasked. Whatever comes of its own accord. Please don't misinterpret this thing, I have been to many, many places. So, when you're eating at the end of the satsang, everybody spread their leaves on the table, right? They spread out their leaves, and then somebody is passing by, and they're giving rice and curry and this and that, and then they will offload so much in this man's leaf. They'll offload so much in his leaf, and then when he looks at it, then this fellow apologize. Oh, I put too much in your plate. Then this fellow will go, no, don't worry. He come by your own mind. You hear that? What do I say? Come by something like that. He come by your own mind. Whatever comes by his own mind, that means I should eat. So that fellow, and people are distributing food. You have to be very, very vigilant, Especially me. I do not know what people think. That I am... I think what they think, right? That this Swami too skinny. We have to fatten him up a little bit. And you have some other people also. When they start putting this food, then this man will come, Swamiji, how are you going? So I look this side. When I watch back here, my plate full. So therefore, when anytime they're sharing food, you don't look on this side, you look here only. So anyway, whatever comes of its own accord, be santushtaha. The word is santushtaha. Santushta yena kena chit. It will come in 12th chapter. Another phrase. In the 12th chapter, he is contented with anything. You give him a seat on the floor, theek hai. You give him a seat up, theek hai. Yena kena chit. With anything, he is contented. I saw a nice example of this, Once we were organizing Guruji's, Swami Tejo Menanda's Diksha, and by mistake, that Diksha happened to be broccoli, uncooked. Some mix-up took place, miscommunication, and the person who brought the Diksha means food. The food happened to be only some slices of broccoli. And maybe 1 or 2 slices of carrot, like that, few, little bit, uncooked. So that was miscommunication on my part, perhaps. So then I had to now break the news to Guruji. Guruji gets size up all things for lunch and ignore, right? Lunch Bhiksha, I come into the dining area for lunch Bhiksha, chair set up, everything there, we're waiting now. When the man opened the Bhiksha, there some slices of broccoli. Well, he broke my heart. He broke me. So I told Guruji, I said, Swamiji, there was some miscommunication. And for the Bhiksha, only some few slices of raw broccoli. Guruji, I remember this phrase. Guruji, in a very exuberant and very happy. So no problem, we'll eat. What is there? Meanwhile, my heart had sunk in. But Guruji's joy and santushta yena kena chit. Satisfied, contented with anything. Yeah. Yadrichalabha santushtaha. What comes of its own accord, to be happy and contented with that thing. Dvandvatito vimatsaraha. That dvandvatitaha word we have seen already. One who has gone beyond all the pairs of opposite. Don't be, Bhagavan Bhashakar said, avishanna chittaha. Avishanna chittaha means what? In his Bhashya, when he described this dvandvatitaha, what he says, avishanna chittaha. Avishanna chittaha means one who, his mind doesn't get split by this pair, this half of the pair of opposite or this half. Like I give you a simple example. The other day, just recently, I carry, every evening I take Parasad for the dog. Parasad for the dog, for Spoodle. So, I carry some Parasad. And then, I pull out a toy. Well, Spoodle like toy too, eh? Now, Spoodle watching the toy here, and he watching the Parasad. He mind there on this side, and this. It's so easy to confuse an animal. You put two things where he like, but you remember, it's even easier to confuse a human being. Vishanna chittaha means that mind that gets easily split. So, one moment enjoying this thing, and then you see something else there. Vishanna chittaha. Bhagavan says, avishanna chittaha. The mind should not be like this. That means it's gone beyond these pairs of opposite. And the mind is so steady and settled in oneness in the stillness of the universe. So the mind doesn't quickly go there, go here, and go there. Dvandvatitaha. You know that. All people, if it is warm, oh God, it's so warm. Then you put AC in the temple, you go, Swamiji, why are you low the AC? Mind going this side, mind going. That's it. Dandvatita. Vimatsaraha means was gone beyond all sense of jealousy. Matsara means jealousy. We should be happy when we see the prosperity and progress of others. This is the antidote. So he has gone beyond all of this. Happy when we see another person progressing and prospering. Samasiddhavasiddhau cha kritvapi nanibadhyate. In siddha means accomplishment or non-accomplishment. I didn't accomplish what I set out to accomplish. Is sama. Whether he accomplished or didn't accomplish. ठीक है, no problem. कोई बात नहीं. Nothing. I'm fine. Because in the world, that is in nature. Nature is what? Sometimes there will be success, sometimes there will be failure. The two sides can't win the match. Somebody has to win. You have to learn to be a good loser also. Not go and cry, and use social media to do it. People take out all their crying in social media. I don't know before that what they used to do. The whole world has to know you're crying. So no, he is all the time sama, whether it's accomplished or non-accomplished, gain, loss and all that we saw in second chapter. Already you saw that. Samasiddhavasiddhaucha kritvapi nanibadhyate. Even though such a person, even though he is engaged in activities, those activities do not bind him. You have to be following all of these teachings we have been giving from the beginning. Otherwise, in the middle, if you just come for one, you'll be lost now, because we talked about all of this. How karma binds. Karma binds the individual. But the person who is sama, balance, in a state of equilibrium, whether there is achievement or non-achievement, that person who is sama, his karma doesn't bind him. It binds when I didn't achieve that thing. It broke my heart. I was devastated. I couldn't get up again. Such a person is bound by karma forever. That is the idea. Kritvapi nanibadhyate. Gatasangasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasaha. That person who is jnanavasthita chetasaha means his mind is all the time settled in knowledge, wisdom imparted by shastras. He has become gatasanga and mukta. Gatasanga mukta means one who has gone beyond all attachment and is free. Such a person stays established in knowledge. Yajnaya acharata karma samagram praviliyate. All his karmas get destroyed because he is engaged in yajna karma. This yajna karma phrase we saw also in third chapter. Yajna karma means what? Means all our karmas are done in the spirit of yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. I am living my life for the benefit of humanity. Do it, and do it for the benefit of humanity. And leave this world like that. You're free like a bird. I lived this life 70, 80 years, and I worked for humanity. I did whatever I did for humanity. Humanity means God. That is how we are supposed to live this world. Not that I amassed this much, and I amassed that much, and I went on hoarding and having a strong sense of mind, and I told, no. We go on doing this more and more, and we spoil our children. We have to teach our children the value of hard work and working in spirit of dedication for the benefit of others. Now comes a very famous verse. People chant it hundreds and hundreds of times, thousands, millions of times it is chanted. And after we chant it, I think you will get hungry. Because this is the verse that we all chant before meals. Whichever sampradaya we belong to, Om Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi.
Brahmagno Brahmanahutam.
Brahmagno Brahmanahutam.
Brahmeva tena gantavyam.
Brahmaivatina gantavyam.
Brahma karma samadhina.
Brahma karma samadhina.
Brahma karma samadhina.
Brahma karma samadhina.
Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi. Now, from this verse, for about 10 verses, the topic has changed. The topic has changed into what? See, just now Bhagavan said Yajñāyācharata karma. He used that phrase in the previous verse which we just saw, right? Yajñāyācharata karma. Our karma should be done, all karmas should be done in the spirit of yajna. Spirit of yajna means spirit of dedication. I do all, whatever you are doing, please don't think that karma means you have to change what you are doing today. You keep saying that over and over. It will not change what you are doing, it changes the attitude with which you are doing what you are doing. So you could be of any profession, whatever your profession is, whatever your vocation is, you keep doing that same thing. Only the spirit with which you do that, the attitude, the motive with which you do that thing, only that has to change. That is what causes the bondage, not the action. It is the motive or the intention, the spirit or the attitude. That is what causes the bondage. So that has to change. So that has to change into what? Right now, it is done in the spirit of selfishness. It has to be done in the spirit of selflessness. That and yajna is one and same. Yajna means sacrifice. I'm sacrificing for others. So now, Bhagavan just used that phrase, yajna karma. All our karma should be in the spirit of yajna. Now, from this verse which we just chanted, a number of yajnas will be delineated. So many different types of yajnas are there. So, in this first one which is given here, this is called as Jnana Yajna. Jnana Yajna. And it will end again, at the end of the series of verses, again it will end with Jnana Yajna. What is Jnana Yajna? Now see, let me lay the foundation for this, and we'll continue this tomorrow also. What is this foundation? Here. Yajna, you know, there's always some big ahuti, some fire is there, right? Big fire is there. And then there are people sitting around that fire, Ritviks and all, and they keep offering things into that fire. That is what we know as yajna. And that is the yajna which is given there in the Vedas also. So, this model of a yajna is taken now, and in these verses, different, various types of yajnas are listed with that same model. Right? So now, this first one which we chanted here today is like this. What is the fire, you will ask, and what is being offered into the fire? The fire is knowledge. And what is being offered into that fire? Ignorance. So we kindle the fire of knowledge in our mind, and as we are kindling that fire of knowledge, ignorance is being burnt away. This is the yajna which is going on here. So now see, with this what I just told you, see the verse now. Brahmarpanam Brahma Vihi. Brahma, absolute reality, God, the supreme reality of the universe, is the ladle. So, means when the person is offering, he uses a ladle, a spoon. Right? So, here is a person who is sitting and watching now, a wise person who is sitting and watching. And he says, no, Brahman, God, is that ladle also. When he does that, what he is doing is burning away ignorance from his mind with knowledge. How? Prior to that thinking, he was thinking that ladle is only ladle, it is not God, it is a ladle. But now with the right thinking, oh, that ladle also is God. That right knowledge has just burnt away his prior ignorance. This is the idea. So, in this type of vichar, thinking, the knowledge keeps on burning away the ignorance. So, ignorance is being offered into the fire of knowledge. So, the ladle also is Brahman, God, the absolute reality. Brahmarpanam, Brahma Vihi. Whatever is being offered, the havis, that also is Brahman, the absolute reality. Brahmagno, offered into what? The hutam, which is the fire, the thing which it is offered into the fire, that also is Brahman. Brahmeva tena gantavyam. And the state that will be achieved by making this sacrifice, that state also is Brahman. Brahma karma samadhina. And the very activity of concentrating and doing this yajna, that also is Brahman. No, it means to say, this person sits and he looks at this yajna. Oh, the ladle, the fire, the one who is offering, the state that will be reached, everything is Brahman. So he is kindling knowledge in his mind, which is burning away ignorance. And this is supreme knowledge. Eh? He's kindling the supreme knowledge in his mind. The supreme knowledge is everything is Brahman. Tulsidas ji tells, na? राम में सब जग ज्ञानी, करऊ प्रणाम जोरी जुग पानी।
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम।
Siya Ramamay is Sanskrit. May pratyay in Sanskrit. Siya Ramamay, everything is made up of Ram. So if everything is made up of Ram, so the ladle and the fire and the one who's offering and the things that are being offered and the state that will be, is Ram or not? Everything is Ram. That is the correct knowledge of the Shastras. So one who sits and kindles this knowledge in his mind, is burning away ignorance. This is the Jnana Yajna. See. This verse is chanted by all the Jnana Sampradaya of India before meals. Why? Oh, meal? It has nothing to do with meal. Where is meal? Food. So that time, the rishis want us to remember the hand that is picking up the food is, this hand is Brahman. The food which is picked up is Brahman. And it is offered to Brahman. And when it goes inside, it will be digested by Brahman also. Everything is Brahman. And see, it is a yajna where the food has to be offered to the body as sacrifice also, as a yajna also. Not like offered like a glutton. Seafood diet. Seafood and eat. No. Offered in the spirit of yajna. And in 15th chapter, he'll say, Bhagavan will say, I am there digesting. Really, he'll say, I am there digesting the food also. Pachamyannam chaturvidam. I am digesting inside. So that will come there. Okay, so the first yajna is given, Jnana Yajna. He'll end with Jnana Yajna. But in between these two, there are so many types of yajna. We'll see tomorrow.